Hello, hello. I hope we are all live now. If you can see us and hear us and say hi in the chat, we'd appreciate it. Just know that everything's working. Today we have a little treat for you. We have Matea Vranković with us, who is our expert voice, and we'll talk about why not to write a book. Writing a book is it's a very intimate way of being seen and heard by the people reading it, especially if you write a book about yourself like Matea did. So she fits our theme perfectly. And we would like to start with her introducing herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matea Vranković, as Edita said. I'm originally from Zagreb, but I have been living in Scotland for the last 4 years. And me moving abroad and changing my life completely really impacted me. And I wanted to share that experience, my journey of adapting to a new country and finding my home here in Scotland in my newly published book that's called Coordinates of Home. That was my biggest dream, really, to write a book. Now Edita is showing it. It was my biggest dream to write a book, and I find a good topic to write about, and I'm really excited to share my journey and my creative process behind it.
Excellent. Thank you very
It's
much for
titled
saying
in
yes.
English, right?
Sorry?
Yeah. This is the title in English.
Yeah, the title in English.
You already have a translation.
No, I don't have a translation yet, but I don't know if it work in English. So this is it's literal translation of Coordinate Doma in Croatian. So we'll see. I was trying to find the title was a tricky one because I knew that I want to translate it in English one day, and I wanted to have a title that will work in Croatian and English as well. But we'll see if it'll stay the same or I will change something. But yeah. Currently, it's just the book is available in Croatian. Yeah, for now.
Yes. So those of you who are from these areas where Croatian is spoken and similar languages have a special treat for you. You can already read the book. The rest of you will have to wait for a bit.
Yeah.
If you have any questions during the live, especially those of you who might be wanting to write something in the future, feel free to ask. I'm sure Matea has a lot of tips and tricks ready for you.
Oh, I have one question. How do you start by writing a book? It's a big project.
It is. I would say that the most important thing is finding a really good topic because it's such a long and hard project. I feel like you have to really have something that will that you will be motivated to write about for a year or two. So the good topic is the most important thing. And I didn't start writing a book until I find a good topic. So yeah, you have to have a topic that you're really passionate about and that you have a lot to say and that you really feel like, oh, I can make an impact with this topic, especially if you're writing a memoir. So it's not like you have a good plot or a good story. It's just you have to really have a good topic that you can connect with your life stories. So you have to have like 200 plus pages about a topic that connects with your life and that you can like find really good stories to share. So yeah, the good topic is the most important. But I had also a writing mentor. I will speak about that a little bit later. Probably I had a writing mentor and a writing group. So my writing mentor, Vanja Nikolic, she led me through the process. So for the first time authors, I suggest having like a writing coach or somebody who can like help you out because it's pretty the process is pretty messy and you can really like easily give up from it if you don't have a good guidance.
Okay. So what inspired you? How did you pick your perfect topic?
So I already started writing about my life abroad before I wrote a book. I wrote like a shorter piece. It was like an ebook about my first year abroad. So yeah, just the life change that I did moving abroad, it really inspired me to write about it initially. And then while I was exploring, while I was writing that ebook, about surviving first year abroad. This was the title. I figure out that there is like a like I think I was doing like a session of finding a title for that ebook, and then when I was writing these titles, one of the titles was "Where is my home?" And I figure out, okay, this is not the title for that ebook, but I think it's a very like good and broad topic. And I was like, okay, I think this is something deep enough and wide enough that I can like really use and write like a longer piece about it. And when I had a topic, okay, so but it was not just because it was a good topic; it was also something that I felt really personally in that moment in life. So it was not a moment where I like, oh, I find my home and now I want to share it with anybody, with everybody. So it was not like I already found it. It was I was in the moment that when I was questioning if I could ever find a home in a foreign country. So it was I had this kind of thoughts and I have a lot of emotions. I was not sure if I'm going to be happy living abroad, if I'm going to belong here, if I'm ever going to feel like I belong here. So it was like self-exploration as well. So as I said, the topic was really personal in that moment of my life. And I was thinking that maybe writing about it will help me as well. And then I can help also other people. So yeah, it was I think it was beneficial from both ends, though it was um, just a perfect topic at that time. Now I would write it. Now I write about something different because now I just it's been 2 years and I feel differently. But in that moment, it was perfect.
I can relate to that journey, and I'm still reading the book. I'm still somewhere in the middle where you're still exploring. So, no spoilers, please. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling because it's quite intense. It's actually making me emotional because I'm still in a search of that feeling of home here. How did the writing process lead you to being more sure about where you are and what home is?
It's just it made me so while I was writing a book, I was trying to notice in my own life here in Scotland what are the things that make me feel connected, that make me feel at peace. So I was writing a book and I was like looking, observing all the time, like a good writer. You need to be really good observer, but I was observing myself all the time, like what kind of food makes me feel like home, what kind of places I really feel like, oh, this is this feeling that I had when I was living in Croatia. What kind of interactions with people or makes me feel like grounded, connected, like I want to like stay here, not leave. So I had to like look deeper in my life. I also went back in my past and I tried to reflect on my life as well in the book. So it was not just the present that was happening, but mostly the present things that I explored in the book. Writing so the diary, I have like a diary entries in the book. So this is like the part that I wrote like a diary, and there are many more diary entries that didn't enter the book. So there was like another 100 pages of my diary. So just thinking like this diary that I wrote every day about um, my thoughts and my insights about home, and just stepping into my subconscious and just trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I just felt like in one moment I was like, I know what's most important for me, and I feel like I know how to recreate that here in Scotland. So yeah, it's not a spoiler really, but I don't think that this journey will be same for everybody. But it is possible. I feel like that's the message of the book. It is possible to find a home outside your homeland.
If you search hard enough.
Yeah. If you search hard enough, if you take time to reflect on that, I feel like, and writing itself, it's such a healing thing. And it really helped me to really, I feel like, let go of the past and accept the present. That's not easy, but it's still like beautiful.
That sounds lovely. But I think we are changing the title already to why to write a book. So I want to hear about
Yeah.
the difficult parts.
Yeah, I'm passionate about the topic, so yeah, I just I always you can feel that. But yeah, writing the book it was much harder than I thought. I thought, well, to be honest, I thought when I started writing a book, oh, it's impossible. It was my dream, but I was thinking I will never pull it through. I just thought it would be too hard for me. But in the end, it was harder than I thought. It's funny because it was just I would say the three things I will mention three most difficult things for me. So the writing itself is very hard. It's just it's a very long process. You have to be really persistent. You have to have a lot of faith in you and in your topic, and it's almost like a mission that you are on. And it's really complex to hold such a big piece in your head, to structure it, to find inspiration, because the book is completely written from my head. So it's not like I did a bit of research, but everything is my original thoughts and my original stories. So it's you have to dig deep and really find those connections and find the best things that you can put in the book. It's not just putting the things that you think that will be good. You have to find interesting things to put in the book. So that's the writing part was the hardest for me, but I also grew as a writer, but it was very hard. The second thing is the financial investment. So it's, especially if you're self-publishing, I don't know how it is here in the UK where I live. Probably, maybe it would be a little bit cheaper if I wrote it in English. I'm not sure, but I think it's still a financial investment. It feels like you're investing in your business. So you need to have some savings to really pay all the costs. So I had to pay for the writing coach. I had to pay for the proofreader, for a designer, for the printing company, so the print of the book, especially if it's a physical product. If it's not an ebook, it just costs more money. And you can also do hire and try to do it like a really basic thing. But if you are serious about your writing, you want to have like best collaborators. You want to have it's not like with the book, it's like a physical product. It's like you are building a physical product in a way. So after you finish your manuscript, it's just a document. But all of this needs a lot of people included. It needs a lot of funds as well to really pull it through. And you have to make a lot of creative decisions. Like if you want to, so my book is in black and white, so I don't have like any color pages. Because it would be much more expensive to print it like that. So you have to have this kind of like business mindset in a way. And the third thing I would say is the aftermath of writing the book, especially if it's a memoir. It's very hard when you write about something so personal and then everybody can read it and everybody can get, like, you really bear your soul on paper. And it feels completely different when you write it in the document, when you're editing it, and when you're just you with your document and maybe your editor. And it feels completely different when it's in the book. And after I published it, it was a very hard few months because I felt like I was like, I don't know if I can like stand behind that book. I feel so like vulnerable and I feel so exposed. And it's not that I was not used to writing. I wrote a lot online and I wrote a lot about my life before, but it has so much more weight when it's in the physical book. And my words sounds differently. I don't know. It's just a very strange feeling. Like it's your life, but it's like a different. It's like not your book. I don't know. It's very hard to explain. It's very surreal feeling. It's good in a way, but it's also like I needed time to really adjust to the. I needed a few months, maybe even 6 months, to adjust to the fact that my life and all like the biggest moments in my life are now in this book, and everybody can have their own thoughts about it and opinions, and it's I feel like just very exposed. And I think I will get used to it, especially because it's my first book. And yeah, these are the three things that are the hardest. And if somebody would ask me if they should write a book or not, I would tell them that before they even start, not to scare them off, just to prepare them for what is coming.
It's serious work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
To those of you watching who might be confused by Darko, he is traveling at the moment. We don't want him and his partner to get killed, so we're kind of letting him be in the background a bit, but he will engage when
Yeah.
he can.
It's a bit tricky to drive around these streets, so yeah, I need to just switch to navigation all the time. So sorry for going away for a moment.
No worries. We know that you're listening.
Yeah, I've been listening all the time.
Do you have an idea of a
Matea,
book already?
sorry?
Do you have an idea for a book already?
Do I have an idea for a book? Might have. I don't know. But what I wanted to ask is regarding the topic of the book and the book itself. Did the writing process help you with it? Uh, Was it a bit therapeutic and getting used to live in other country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It definitely is. Like usually, writers don't want to say that the writing is therapeutic, because it should be like oriented to other people, not so much to yourself. But yeah, for me, it was very therapeutic. It's really like intensive therapy. As I said, when you write, you really go to your subconscious and you discover a lot of things that you're not aware of. For example, like a lot of people that know me, they say when they read some of the stories, they said, I didn't know that you were so emotional about a lot of these things, that you felt it so deep. And what I always say, it's like, I didn't know that I felt so. Like I was writing it and I would just start crying, or I would just writing it and I would just like, I didn't even know that I think about it that way. So yeah, I go in the book, I go like, it's not just about me living abroad. I share a lot about that, but also share about my life and about my experiences of home or losing a home before I even moved abroad. So it's also about my life before, um, and also about how I made the decision to move abroad. So a lot of us that move abroad, we have like a whole life before that, and a lot happened, and we tried to find a way to stay in our home countries, but we didn't manage to do that. And it's just coming back to that, why I really moved. Even like what I thought I moved because of one reason, but it was completely different thing in the end when I started writing about it. So it's very therapeutic to answer your question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It
I
does.
think that end of the therapeutic process is positive, but the process itself is not very easy.
Yeah.
We have a question in the comment about how much it lasts. So how long did it last from the moment you made the final decision to do this and until the book was published? What was the time frame for all of it?
Thank you for that question. It was exactly 2 years. So I decided to write a book in the summer of 2022. I made a decision and I started ruminating about it. So every time I drove somewhere, or I just started like let's say the research part, but it was more like internal process. So it was in the summer that I decided, and then in October I really started writing it down. But yes, summer, and I published it 2 years after that. So the writing process was 1 year, but it was 1 year of very intense writing. So I had a writing group. We met every week. I was really writing like full year. It was really full year. I didn't have a lot of like breaks. And then after that, then it came the editing, and I also had beta readers, so I had like a feedback from them. And then it came the process of proofreading and designing the covers and deciding on that. So this was like another year. So 1 year of writing, and then another year of polishing the manuscript and like working on and I didn't took any breaks, and I was very determined to publish it as soon as possible. So I was like, I will not wait. I want to just put it out. So it was 2 years of very intensive work, where I put a lot of my professional obligations aside to really finish it. So it's a big time investment.
So the investment is in time, but also in money, not just for the publishing, but the money you're not getting because you're investing this time as well. So it's something to warn people about.
Especially because I was in that moment, I started working as a freelancer. So I had to like decline a lot of opportunities to really concentrate on the book. And okay, I think that if I would write it again, like a second book, I think I would be faster. I would not maybe, I think there was a lot of like inner critics, procrastination with the writing process. So I think I lost a lot of time in that, because I was I was self-doubting myself. I was doubting myself all the time. So yeah, I think that like I now feel like, especially after writing this many pages, I feel like I'm much faster writer. I think I could now write a book in 6 months, and maybe spend another 6 months to 1 year like polishing it. But yeah, it's just, especially when you work with the collaborators, they also have their own schedule. So for example, my proofreader and designer, I had to wait 3 months until their schedule got like free. So you have to wait for other people that are working on your book if you want to have good like people working on it. So, and then they need their own time. They're not just working on your book, they're working on other stuff as well. So I had really good like team working with me, but it was still like it's like a project management. In one moment it became like a project management thing. It's really like a project. So it's not impossible, but you just have to be a good project manager.
Right. So you don't just learn writing skills and about yourself, but also how to manage other people, your time, your resources.
Yeah, the resources. That's your own point with that. You have to really manage your resources, and you have to like not. I think in one moment I was like burnout, but yeah, then you have to just like step back and just take some time off, and then yeah.
Were you faster than the rest of the group? Is that the average? What could you say about the rest of the people who are trying to write their book? Is it always 2 years?
I think it is, because our mentor, she told us it's like she wrote already like 3 or 4 books. I think the 4th one is on the way. She told us it's like from the start to like publish a book. It's usually 2 years. Even if you are self-publishing should be faster than like traditional publishing, because with traditional publishing you usually have to wait a lot. But I just feel like it should be faster. Okay, I'll just wait for a second. Yeah, okay. I will. Yeah, with self-publishing should be faster, but it's still a lot of time. What I wanted to say, I lost my. Yeah. Yeah, let's go to the next. I didn't know it. Did
No
I
worries,
answer
there's a
it?
bit of background noise.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
We had a question that might be a bit easier to answer in the meantime. Who are your beta readers? People you know or strangers?
So yeah, one beta reader was my writing mentor. She recommend the girl that also lives abroad. So I try to use people that are like that have some connection with writing, or that are like that like to read, um, and also that live abroad, because the book is really like, they are my target audience, I would say, people that moved abroad. So one of the beta readers was my friend, a very good friend that I that also is like a Serbian teacher. So she also read a lot of books, and this was her education. And the other one was, I think she was an English teacher like you, Edita, but she also lived abroad, and she lives in England. So it was interesting to have somebody who lives in the UK as me. And the other person, she doesn't live in the UK, but she was a very good friend of mine, and I knew that she likes my writing. And this was important for me because I wanted to have somebody who really like appreciate my voice and my style of writing. So that I had also like a positive feedback, and maybe somebody who is a little bit more objective. But they both gave me really good advice, and I really listened to most of their advice, and I edited the book, not significantly, but a lot. I really tried to change a lot. So it's the book, like the first draft, it changed so much. Like I had like a first editor, then I have a proofreader, I have beta readers feedback. So I really um, took a lot of time to really polish a book. I think in the end I had like 10 drafts of the book. Really, it was a lot of time to spend editing, and I love editing. So this was the enjoyable part of the process.
I admire that. And I think it's visible in the final product. It's visible that it's polished and that it's well thought throughout, because, we do see a lot of books out there that might not be finished because of some of the reasons that you've mentioned. Maybe the person didn't know how big of an investment it was and they still wanted to send it out there. But, this is not something that's easy or enjoyable to read then. But here I see that this person did a lot of research and work. And there's a part also that I would like to mention that you haven't yet, is that you have some tasks for the reader as well.
Mhm.
So the interaction is there for us,
Yeah.
even though you've kind of disengaged from this product now and you feel like it's not you anymore because you've moved on.
Yeah, so the biggest like the biggest thing that I learned, and this my mentor helped me a lot with that, is that you have to write a book in a form that it's natural to you. So I have different forms. I don't know, Edita, if you say forms for that. Is it like so I will explain to an example. So I have like a stories in the book. I have a part that is like diary entries, and I mix it all up. And I have like a research part, and I also have the questions for the readers. It's like the interaction. So my writing mentor, she is a big fan of interaction. She likes this kind of things, but it came naturally to me while I was writing some stories and pieces in the book. I just felt like this is the moment that I would like in a normal conversation, I would tell you that, and then we ask you, what do you think about it? Do you have your favorite object? Do you have your favorite place that you like to visit? So it came really natural to ask these questions, and I was just like, I will write it down, and then I will see with my writing mentor if it fits or not. And she said it's a great idea. So yeah, this was a struggle for me later on, because it was like I had a lot of moving pieces, a lot of different forms in a way I was writing, like the different ways in which I was writing my book. But in the end, I had to like a puzzle. I have to put this all together and structure it. So every chapter has a lot of different kind of. You will read a story from my past, like from many years ago, and then I go in the present with my diary, and then I ask you some questions. But yeah, the questions I really love because I feel like you're also going through the journey of reflecting on what homes means to you, I think it's just get you a little bit more engaged, get you a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's the right amount of challenge. Perhaps you can say that it's a mix of genres in a way.
Yeah, genres. Yeah, and with creative nonfiction, so memoirs are like really creative nonfiction. You can really, I think, explore these different genres, and you can really, I don't know, you have a lot of freedom, and you have to like use it. So you don't have to really stick to one genre. You can really, so I had for example, so I wrote a memoir and I have a fiction in a memoir. So some stories in it, I don't know, Edita, if you already come to this story, there are few things that are completely fiction. So I use it just to make my point or to make like writing more engaging. And sometimes you can recognize it, sometimes not. It's not that I was lying, I was just making a piece better. So like let's say so you didn't read this still, I think, Edita, but in a chapter about the food, there is like a story that I start with, and it's a completely fictional story. And I say it's fictional, but it's really a good point because I wanted to like emphasize the importance of food in our life. And I just had an idea and I just wrote a story that's completely fictional. And then I wrote some of my examples with the food and everything. I just feel like you should use that freedom and really try to express yourself in a way that comes most naturally. And I was before I had problem with that because I was always thinking I have to write it in that way, I have to write it in this way. No, you can you can write it as a text message, you can write it as a diary entry, you can write it as a story that it's like half page, you can write it as a long story. You just have a lot of freedom.
I love that. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes fiction can tell the truth better than, real events. And that's something to explore. We have a question from the audience from Dinka, who doesn't like writing. She says, have you ever loved writing?
I will also, I see the Dinka's second question, so I will try to
Yeah, she's saying writing is definitely a skill, but can you really master writing even if it's a great struggle? So even if writing is a big problem for you, can you become much better at it?
So I didn't always love writing. I'm not one of these people that start writing really early. I started writing. So my background is that I studied economics and I worked in a finance sector. So I worked in a bank and I worked in government agency so it's in my field after my graduation. So I had a completely different like career path. And then I figured out that it was not really fulfilling. And I turned 30 and it was like a big turning point in my life. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Why I just don't feel fulfilled in this work that I'm doing. And I wanted to find something more creative to do, at least on the side, at least as a hobby or like a passion. So it was in my 30s that I started writing anything. Really, I didn't even write my diary. So it was like, it was completely new thing for me. Also, I had a lot of resistance in writing. So I feel like resistance is something that there is a great book that's called War of Art, Stephen Pressfield, that really changed my opinion about writing, because I thought if I had so much resistance about writing that I'm not really a writer, it's not for me. But in this book, he mentions that if you have a lot of resistance, that maybe this is a thing you should be doing. I will not elaborate on the book itself, The War of Art, but you can check it, and it's really good. It's really a masterpiece. But yeah, I had a lot of resistance. I had a lot of inner critics, and I didn't really know how to write before I started writing. So it was more like I entered few workshops before I wrote my book. I entered few workshops, and I was like I was writing, and I had like writing mentors that did the editing, and that this is the best way to learn through practice, because you have some. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Edita. And so yeah, I really expose myself in a way that I really try to write, and I get feedback on my writing, and this is how I improved. And I have to say, especially so when while I was writing a book, it was still very hard, and I feel like I was not still a skilled writer. But as I wrote like more than 100,000 words, I really become much faster, and became much faster, and I like really ease into it. I'm so much more relaxed now with writing than before. It's not like this resistance is not there as much. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's really like the hours that you put in, and it's really like a piano or something else that you learn. It's really like playing piano. I just feel like it's very practice based, and it's really like a skill that you learn. So yeah, I think everybody can learn writing. I don't know if everybody would enjoy it as much as I enjoy it, but yeah, I just feel like if you really love reading, and you feel like you have something to say, I think you should try work on your writing skills.
So if Dinka has this resistance as well, maybe it's a signal for her to start writing then. Dinka, you heard
Yeah.
it. You know
I
what to do.
encourage it. Yeah, I think writing is good for anybody, really. At least writing for yourself. So I put a lot of pressure on me, because I was like writing a book, and I knew that I will publish it. So I knew I was not writing a book for myself. But I feel like you can, like, there is a lot of, like, I don't know. I think writing is like one of the best things you can do for yourself, no matter if you want to like publicly put it out or not.
Okay, so you've segued kind of into the positive part
Yeah.
already. So I feel like you would still recommend people to try it, even though it's difficult.
Yes, I would. It's just I think that everybody who wants to write a book, I feel like they are dreaming about the moment that they will have like this kind of like book in their hands, and the moment they will like they will have their book on their bookcase, and like look at their books. I just feel like I think I'm appreciating it now, but I feel like in like 10 years from now, I think I will be even more grateful. And when I will show my kids the book one day, and my grandchildren. So I feel like it will be like something that will be like one of the proudest moments in my life. It really feels like it, because it's such a hard thing to do. Not everybody can do it, because it's like not a lot of people could finish a book. And when you manage to do it, I feel like it's a really a big sense of accomplishment. That's the biggest thing. And it really has impact on other people's lives. So I'm all the time getting messages from people like you, Edita, that you said it made you emotional, or it just feels like you wrote something that will be there, and other people, it will affect other people, hopefully in a positive way. So it's such a, I was always like, I have always this philanthropic thing in myself. I always wanted to like help people, and I just feel like this is a way that I will be helping them for a long time. So yeah, writing a book about your own personal struggles and how you overcome them, I think it has this big, I don't know, big. It's huge for a person. And yeah, it made me a better writer as well. So you can do as much, like you can do a lot of writing, like short things, but still when you have such a complex project like writing a book, I feel like I learned in this year of writing a book, I feel like I learned how much I would learn in like 5 years of slowly writing something. Because when you manage to complete a book, it's you have to put a lot of effort, and you really have to grow a lot to really like structure it. It's just made me like 10 times better writer, just finishing this one piece. Even if I didn't publish it, I feel like I would learned a lot. So this is for writers. I think that they wanna always become better. So I think it's the best way is to write a book, really, and get feedback as well. Like not just write it and get some editor feedback or something. And what else? And also, if you write a book like I wrote a book about my own struggles, I feel like it's very therapeutic, as I said, because you will have. You will kill two birds with one stone. I feel like you will have this creative fulfillment, but you will also find answers for your questions. Yeah.
And perhaps you'll know where to start then, because if you start from yourself, you have a whole world that you know very well as inspiration.
Yeah.
You've talked about what you've learned in this process, but I want to rewind a bit to where you said that, people that know you will be reading it. It's out there representing you in a way. You're mentioning people that you love and care about in the book. So you're being visible, not just for strangers that you're kind of helping in a way and trying to talk to, but also to people who are a big part of your life. And I know that can be super scary. So how did you deal with this idea that your parents might be reading the book, or your partner?
Yeah, so I was writing a lot about my partner. The only good thing is that the book is in Croatian and my partner is Polish. So he always say, like, you have to translate the book for me, like at least in English. So yeah, he doesn't speak my language, and that's a good thing. I told him what I wrote about him, but still, he's a very private person. I don't think that he's like, I don't want these people to know this all about our relationship. But I had to share that because he was a very big part of my journey. So I met my now husband in when I just moved in Scotland. So moved to Scotland. So he was a big part of my journey. Like I was so alone here, I just had him. So a lot of things that we did together. So it was very hard. It's very hard to know this with memoirs is so tricky. If you want to, like, you have to include other people, because it's not like I could not write stories that I was like somewhere alone if it's not true. It's like there would not be story, like a lot of stories that I mentioned there would not even happen if I didn't have somebody like beside me. So also, if I wrote like a whole chapter about relationships, so it was about my family and everything, and it was like it was very hard not to mention these people. I could write like I try not to go like I try to have respect for their privacy, but it was still, I tried to be as honest as possible in a way that I didn't want to like hold back, at least at least like about my feelings and my emotions. So I think it's not easy to read this book for my family. Maybe for my partner it would be more funny. I think for my family, because there is some hard stuff there, I think that it's not easy. And there are a lot of people that from my family still haven't read the book, and I understand that. I completely understand that. But it was I just feel like even these people, they like see you in a different way, that they perceive you. Even my family perceive me in a different way than I shared here. I just feel like a lot of people didn't even know how I feel about certain things because I didn't really share that. I don't know. In Croatia, it's not so common to speak so much about your emotions or about hard stuff. So I feel like I opened that like Pandora box in a way. But yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. But my partner is okay. He knows what I shared. He's like like he knows something. I but I felt like, because I exposed myself so much in this book, I felt like a second book I don't want to mention anybody else. I will try to write something a little bit different because it was a lot.
Right. Do you think that this process with the riskiest part being, I guess, talking about the people you love rather than the strangers. Do you think that it made it easier for you to be here today live on video?
Mhm. Yeah, it's like it's really like a practice of like showing up for yourself, showing like being um okay with being seen in that way. It just I felt like when I was even writing a book, I felt like I don't know if people will be interested in my thoughts and what I have to say. Is this really interesting for anybody? And I felt like a lot of times in my own life, I don't really so I feel like we all have very unique perspective on things, but this perspective is not often shared. So for example, I write a lot like I when I have like a very like a unique way like how I see things. I always go like it would be deeper than other people, but I often don't feel like I want to share this with anybody because it's all in my head. In the book, I share that, but it's very hard to even share your like point of view, and this allowed me to be more like myself and to put something from my head out in the world. And even this now, I'm sharing what I learned. I'm sharing my thoughts. I'm in a way like vulnerable here. So yeah, it helped me a lot to be here.
It's a piece of cake, I think, compared to 2 years of self-reflection.
But there is this piece that I really love. Now, after you just imagine this day that you will like have your own book and then you will speak about it. I was always like, I will go somewhere, I will speak about my book. It's such a pleasure in a way to speak about some topic that you're so interested about. Like you are so you explore it so much, you know a lot about it, and you want to like it's like a book is not enough for me. I want to speak about it more. It's just like it's not finished completely. Okay, I had some like transformation in this process, but um I still love to talk about and share my work. Yeah.
That's lovely. Oh, I shared the link in the
Mm.
chat before we go to the next question. Those of you who are lucky enough to speak Croatian, Serbian, Bosnian, one of our languages, and can understand it in its true form, you can already go ahead and purchase it. And the rest of you will have to wait for a translation.
Yeah,
And
if there will be a lot of interest, maybe it will push me to to translate it sooner than later. So yeah, you never know what can motivate me. I took a break a little bit now, but yeah, I plan to translate it.
lovely. I think there's a question there before we go to Dinka's.
Mhm.
Do you think that once it's published in English, this will kind of add another dimension to it because English is your new home language in a way?
Yeah, I feel like it will be very interesting to see because my tone of voice is so like Croatian, and even the things that I share, they're so like there are chapters where I like show my frustration, and I feel like in Croatian you can really show it um like differently than in English. And I think it will be very interesting to see how I would like I think I would use like a professional, like a person that will translate it. It will be so interesting to see this in English. But as I think the topic is very universal, and I think like as I said, my husband is Polish, and I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of Polish people, and I feel they share the same sentiment about living abroad, about home. So, like the Eastern European, I'm definitely sure they will love the book. For the West Europe and other countries, like more like West, I think that they will also. I feel like a lot of people will find themselves in the book, even if they don't have the same background. I just feel like the most of the topics are so universal, and um, yeah, I think that the translation will add another layer. I think it will be very interesting. It will be different audience. It will be different way of expressing um, expressing those emotions and stories. I think it will be. We could have another live about that when this happens, because I think I will have a lot of thoughts about it. Yeah.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
it will have a different character in a different language, and there might be some surprising things there. Dinka is asking if you're writing something new now.
So I have an idea for a new book, and I wanted to start writing it straight away. But my writing mentor, she was, she was really, she knew that I needed a break, and she told me like, Matea, I think like you wrote that book, you should enjoy it for a while, like just not, because when you go into a new project, you get like really involved, and you like get like you stress about it a lot. So I just decided to really like enjoy this book, do the marketing part, try to really use my free time to really try to speak about book, have this kind of conversations, and really do the like marketing and selling part. That's the part that comes after publishing, so it's not finished. After the book is published, you have a lot of other things that you need to do. So yeah, I'm doing that now. So I decided not to start writing a book, this new book, but I have an idea. Like I want to write about sorrow. I know that this is what I want to write about, but I think maybe in the new year I will start a little bit like doing some. So I did a bit of research for that book. So I usually the research part, the best is to maybe read some books on the topic. This is very very beneficial for the research part, to start reading books on the topic just to get some inspiration. So I did a bit of research, but I think maybe I will start doing it without a group or a mentor in the beginning of the year, just to see if do I have something real here or not, because it's a broad topic. I have just hard topics for my books. I cannot write about something light.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I see you've picked something lighter this time
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
change.
yeah. Yeah, but it's just like I don't know. It has to be something that you like. I don't know. It's more like, I don't know if it's the gut feeling, but it's something that you really feel deep to write about. And when you get this kind of idea, you just it's hard to let it go. Even if it would be easier for me to write something lighter, but okay, we'll see.
Well, it's not you. You're obviously interested in human psychology and in
Yeah.
exploring complicated emotions. So it only makes sense to stay true to yourself. We have a brief question. I know you answered this, but maybe to repeat, was your mentor Croatian or British?
So Vanja Nikolic, she's Serbian. So yeah, I had to have somebody who knows Croatian, who speaks Croatian as well. So she's from Serbia, and she's really good mentor. She has a program for writing a book. So it's not a program for like any writing. It's for writing a book that I think it's 9 months like long. But then if you need more time, she can prolong it. So yeah, it was a great experience to learn from her.
Okay, so you know that a good way to get yourself accountable is some group work. And this is how I met you in my group English program, where you try to practice more English, even though you're living in Scotland. And I think this has something to do with imposter syndrome and perfectionism. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm never, I will, I'll never be happy with my English. No, I'm joking, but it's hard, especially when you live in the UK, because they speak such a very high level English. I don't know how to call it, the accent and everything. So yeah, I have to work on my English all the time. I'm also a freelancer, so I work in English as well. So yeah, Dita, I have worked with you, and I've been part of your course just because I'm always trying to improve my English, practice it. I do speak English here with my partner, with my friends, but it's still, I just feel like you have to put more effort in it. But yeah, I think I just for me it's very hard, especially because I'm like a writer. I feel like I'm very eloquent in Croatian, and it's very hard to get to that level in English. And I would like to get to that level because I know it's not my native language, but still, like I would love to master my English. But I feel like I'm taking the courses and I really try to find a good English teacher like you, Edita. But I feel like it will also take me some time because I can see other people here that are living longer here, and I can see just you have to have patience, and it will not come overnight, even if you're living in the country where they speak the language. So
Absolutely. It's like writing a book.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
It's a process, and it takes a lot of time and effort to get to where you want to be. It's not like, I still see those ads where you put something under your pillow or a machine
Ah, yeah.
overnight, and then suddenly, magically, you wake up knowing more. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like you have to be active on that area, especially if you live abroad in any language, not just English. I just feel like you have to really try to try to like practice in a group setting, like we had a group course, and also like work on your vocabulary all the time. It's not even the grammar; it's more like just trying to um, yeah, practice it and learn the new words. I'm all the time learning new words, but yeah, be more intentional about it. This is my point with the language learning. I just feel like I was not intentional while I was living in Croatia, and now I regret it.
yeah, I can relate to that. I live in the UK as you do, and sometimes I lose a few words of my first language.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
this happens. Yeah.
you have to think about it, right? The natural thing is to say it in English sometimes,
Hmm.
right? So we have to work continuously on our first, second, third languages. It's definitely a process, and I think it's always recommendable to find other people to talk to and to challenge yourself, like you're doing today, expressing yourself and finding your voice in your second home language, in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love to do this kind of things more, and uh, I try to get out of my comfort zone, but it's not easy. Even people say, "Oh, it's English. Everybody knows English," but it's still like it's not easy, especially doing it publicly.
Absolutely. Not everybody knows English. Not
Mm.
everybody is a good speaker. Not everyone knows themselves. I think that's something that we can learn from you, right? It takes a lot of digging to know who you are and how to express it.
Mhm.
Darko is with us again.
Yeah, hi, sorry. Uh, Three different borders, customs, and the internet is not working as it should.
You were kind of demonstrating to us what the journey of finding home is like. It's not an easy one.
Exactly.
I don't know how much you managed to hear. Maybe you have some final questions, Darko.
Last 20 minutes, not really. So, not to repeat the question, I would like to thank Matea for being here.
Thank you both for having me.
Thank you for being brave and for being so honest with the process of writing. You talked about some negatives and a lot of positives, I'd say. What would be your final kind of or main piece of advice for anyone listening who's considering it?
So if you are like me and you think it's impossible to write a book, I will say to you it's possible. It's really manageable. It's just like a project that you work on. And I feel like if you're really passionate about the topic, you should really go for it. it is hard, and you have to prepare yourself and like really find like really resources to do it. It's not like finding a good moment, but really like just really seeing if you have a capacity to do it now. But yeah, it will be all worth it.
It'll be worth it. Okay. Excellent. I think that's a good note to end on. I want to thank you once more. Thank you to everyone in the comments for your lovely questions. And I hope to see you soon again when the book is out in English.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And if anybody has any more questions, they can always contact me privately. I will be happy to answer them.
Exactly. Excellent. Thank you, and bye-bye.